My fellow writer over at Pucks and Pitchforks and also the host of Heads Up Hockey podcast, Jersey Joe, is accompanying me on today's episode. We're going to talk about some players who have been crucial so far during the playoff series for the New Jersey Devils, but might not get the amount of attention that they rightfully deserve. There's a lot to break down with Jersey Joe because a lot has happened after our breakdown of Game 1. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here on the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, Devils writer for Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. He is Jersey Joe, back on the show once more, recurring guest. Jersey Joe, the last time we spoke, we were kind of in not so good of a place because
down 1-0 and being heckled out.
Yeah, the Ranger fans are relentless, and I've seen a lot less of them in my comment section as of late.
Hold on a sec. May I say something? Hate is gonna hate, player's gonna play. You ain't gonna be a playmaker. I'm sorry. You're the spectator.
Well, the series is now tied 2-2. The New Jersey Devils have reclaimed home ice advantage. However, I don't know how much that helps them, considering the fact that neither team has won in front of their home fans, and the Devils actually perform better on the road. So I guess technically you could say the Rangers have home ice advantage, but the Devils are going to have to win. They're going to have to win at home at some point if they want to win the series. They're either going to put themselves in the driver's seat or they're going to finish it off in Game 7. That's the circumstance that has to happen if they want to come out victorious.
Well, let me put it this way. There's been such a momentum swing the past two games. I'm literally saying, like, if they started Schmid instead of Vanacek and they played Lazar instead of Wood, this series would have been over in favor of the Devils. It's just my belief, just that the calmness of a goaltender slowing a game down. I mentioned this before in a recent article that's out today on Pucks and Pitchforks, the site we write for. And I wrote about Schmid saying he reminds me of a star quarterback where not only is he calm and composed, but when he has a lead, he takes his time. He's not going to rush anything. He's going to kill some time, buy the time for his offense to get ahead and help him score when critical.
Now, we're going to talk all about the circumstances that the New Jersey Devils could have done in order to put themselves in the driver's seat a little early. But first, I got to point this out because I've been seeing in my comment section so many times as of late, and I am sick of it. Okay, this is not a Detroit Red Wings jersey, guys. This is a Mickey Mouse Canadian jersey that I got from Epcot at Disney World. I'm just showing love to my brothers up north. See, Canada. All right. And my LeBron James.
I love visiting that part of Epcot, going to Canada.
Right. I had to have it. It's an exclusive Disney World jersey. All right. It's not a Detroit Red Wings one. So please leave me alone. It's just showing support for my Canadian listeners. And for my LeBron James flag, I don't know what to tell you. There's no NBA team in New Jersey anymore. All right. So I can like
the Nets.
The Nets claim New York now. They're Brooklyn. I was never a Nets fan.
I know.
All right. So I can like other sports. I don't know what to tell you. Now, digressing a little bit, you hit the nail on the head, Jersey Joe, which is you talked about like what could have the Devils done differently. I talked briefly about it in my previous episode because I talked about how Jonas Siegenthaler, he kind of had a solid performance because he was able to score. He was able to get an assist to a multi-point game. I felt like that was a statement game for him just because he was a scratch on Game 2. And we saw how that game wound up for the Devils. It didn't go well at all. So we could talk about Akira Schmid. We could talk about Jonas Siegenthaler. We could also talk about Curtis Lazar because Curtis Lazar, especially in Game 3, he was also able to have a pretty solid performance, especially on the penalty kill, according to Christy Flannery of the Hockey News. So, let's start with Akira Schmid. Now, you sent me an interesting stat, basically showing the projection of potential that Akira Schmid has. And it's comparing him to Martin Brodeur. Now, here's the thing. Akira Schmid, here's what he has in common with Martin Brodeur. He is the first Devils goalie rookie to start in a playoff game since Martin Brodeur in 1994. Brodeur appeared in 17 playoff games his rookie year. And then, according to Amanda Stein, Akira Schmid is the first Devils goalie to win 2 games in a playoff series since Brodeur did it in 2012. So, yeah, so it seems like Akira Schmid, while the talk around town has been Vitek Vanacek, right now it seems like Akira Schmid is stealing the light, and you solidified your legacy during the course of the playoffs. So what do you think of Akira Schmid?
I love him. I was a little hard on him last year when he wasn't ready during the pandemic shortened season, and he just wasn't quite ready yet. I knew what he was capable of. He just wasn't ready for that moment in time. And then a buddy of the show, Jake Wakely, he's a big goalie, former goalie in his days of hockey. He would tell me, say, he's a really good goaltender. He's developing well in Utica. He's going to take a little longer, but once he's ready, he's probably going to be the one. And I said, look, if this kid can come up, steal the show from whether it's a Vanacek or a Blackwood, and he just impresses me outright, he has the Jersey Joe blessing. And right now, ever since Game 3 of this playoff series, he's earned that 1A starter role from me being a fan coach. Let me just put it that way. I mean, that's just the way I operate. But when you have him and Vanacek, you got a really good tandem.
Yeah, you do have a good tandem, and you talked about how Akira Schmid was calm, cool, and collected. I think it was evident in Game 4 because in Game 3 he admitted he was really nervous, and I know I've said it so many times on my show, but when I speak to Akira Schmid, and he's a really nice guy, he's really polite, very soft-spoken, and he seems like a very shy kind of guy. But when I spoke with him, he admitted to me that there was a game in which he was very nervous, which is why he didn't have his best performance. But he said in Game 4 he was less nervous and he felt more prepared. So the thing is like you talk about how Akira Schmid can take the 1A role from Vitek Vanacek, because Vitek Vanacek has been the Devils' consensus starting goalie throughout the course of the year, because first it was Mackenzie Blackwood. Blackwood gets hurt. Devils go on a 13-game win streak. Vitek Vanacek is at the helm. Akira Schmid is brought up, and in his season debut against the Ottawa Senators, I believe, when he was in relief, we saw Akira Schmid. He was rusty at first, but during the course of OT, we saw him make some big saves, and it was all positive impacts from there on out. So for Akira Schmid, it's just like, yes, he's solidifying his legacy in the playoffs. And the thing is like, if Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't already kicked to the curb, he certainly is now. Like there's no chance.
It's like having the Sopranos. Like you see that guy he was part of the family, but is no longer that good enough to be part of the family. Finally kick him to the curb. Right now, you got the young guy and the other guy taking those roles away. So really, it's competition on the daily. You can't get complacent.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is like, is Akira Schmid going to be the starting goalie come next year for the Devils? I
have a good feeling he can.
You can't just ignore what Vitek Vanacek did during the course of the year, because once again, Vitek Vanacek, while we're on the subject of comparing our goalies to Martin Brodeur, greatest goalie to ever play the game, I'll take that to the bank. The thing is, Vitek Vanacek is the first Devils goalie since Brodeur to reach 30 wins. So it's just like, I'm a little conflicted, because on the one hand, Vitek Vanacek had a phenomenal year. I don't care what Ranger fans tell me. Vitek Vanacek, if he's able to repeat what he's able to do next year, he can definitely be in the running for the Vezina Trophy. I don't care what anyone says. Like, the narrative is there. His impact is there. The numbers will improve in my eyes. So Vitek Vanacek, you can't ignore that. But at the same time, Akira Schmid, just the playoffs are way more meaningful, because you can lose 4 games in a row during the course of the regular season. We saw it happen at one point, and you're able to rebound. But in the playoffs, you only got 4 lives, and pretty much you got to be selective when you use your lives. Because if the Devils go down 3-0, they're not winning 4 straight in my eyes. That at that point, it's
unless you're pulling the Boston Red Sox of hockey and you come back and you win it all.
or you're pulling the LA Kings, who were able to do that in the 2014 finals.
I remember that.
To the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks are the last NHL team to blow a 3-0 lead, but that was almost 10 years ago.
11 years.
11? 2014?
No, 2014. Yeah, it's been less than that.
Yeah, 2000. It's
Now I feel old.
It's 2023. Yeah, 2014 plus 10 years.
Yeah, that's
24.
That's 9.
Yeah, almost 10.
Yeah, I still think of 2012. That's my brain is going back 11 years. That's my lucky number.
But anyway, so yeah, the thing is like, I think Akira Schmid is definitely making a case for himself as to why maybe he should become the starting goalie next year. We just got to see how the rest of the series goes out. But let me ask you this. Do you feel comfortable putting Akira Schmid in for, if this series were to hypothetically go to 7 games, do you leave Akira Schmid in for all 3 of those games that are remaining kind of thing? Or do you, like, if the Devils win the next game, maybe put Vitek Vanecek in for game 6 just to rest it up a little bit? Or what's your thoughts?
He's already rolling. Why mess with a good thing? And he's already got a couple days off.
I'm just thinking about fatigue. I'm just thinking from a fatigue standpoint, not a performance standpoint, because you are going to have, because if the Devils do advance in the playoffs, you are going to have to put Vitek Vanecek in at least once to just, give Akira Schmid.
Probably a game 1 of the next round if the Devils advance.
Probably game 1. Yeah, probably.
But right now, as of now, after yesterday's win on the 24th, you have until the 27th. So this gives a couple days off for Schmid to rest and the Devils' legs to get back to them. But if this was not so dire, then you would have Vanecek in. But at this point, you just roll with Schmid.
Don't worry, there's still more in store, but game 5 of the first round series between the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils is fast approaching. I know a lot of you want to see the game in person, so I know that the ticket prices can be a little pricey, so I'm going to tell you about Game Time, because Game Time can help you out. Flash deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, and images of the seat views, lowest price guaranteed, even cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. So what do I mean by that? Well, forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for hockey, football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So get images of your seat before you buy, so you know what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute ticket deals, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's get back to our discussion with Jersey Joe from Heads Up Hockey Podcast. Take it away once again. I would have to agree. And Akira Schmid, he's the hot hand, so we just gotta ride it. But if Devils do win this series, Akira Schmid is my MVP, because he is the reason why this series was able to turn around. Because I said, look, the Devils got to win game 3. If they want any chance of coming back, they got to win game 3. If they lost game 4, I would be like, okay, not in our favor, but we've seen teams overcome a 3-1 deficit. It's one of the reasons why I say it's the most infamous lead in all of sports. No one wants to be known as the team that blew a 3-1 lead. But no team, very rarely has a team come down 3-0. Like, it's only happened once in baseball, hasn't happened all that often in hockey. It's never happened in basketball. So it's just like, when you're down 3-0, you pretty much at that point, it's just a safe base. Don't get swept. But moving on from the goalie position, let's talk about Jonas Siegenthaler. So game 2, I don't think I got your thoughts on this. Lindy Ruff decides to bench Jonas Siegenthaler in favor of Brendan Smith to add, quote unquote, more physicality, which I don't think was the problem. Jonas Siegenthaler, that's not the person you scratch kind of thing. And I get that you have to factor in left-handed, right-handed defenseman. You don't want to play someone out of position, but that wasn't the time to make a desperation move, especially for Jonas Siegenthaler, because I don't know if you listened to my more recent episode, James Nichols of the fourth period, he tweeted out Andre Palat's numbers, but I couldn't help but notice that Jonas Siegenthaler was putting up some solid production as well. On the defensive side of things, he had a multi-point outing in which, once again, he was able to score on a great feed from Nico Hischier, and he was able to also rack up an assist on Jack Hughes' goal, because who was the one that was able to get it away from Akira Schmid when Schmid initially made the save? It was Siegenthaler, because it went behind Schmid, and had a Rangers player found it, that's an easy goal. But it was Siegenthaler who cleared it. So let me get your thoughts. Like, if the Devils were to lose this series, just speaking hypothetically, would you look back at game 2 as probably the biggest blunder that Lindy Ruff made in benching or making Siegenthaler a healthy scratch in favor for Brendan Smith?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the art of war, you have to know yourself, you have to know your personnel, and you have to know your opponents. And when you mistaken your best soldier for your least favorable soldier, you're only letting down your guard, and you're letting down the way your tactics are. So really, if that game 3 were to go down in a bad way, yes, I would absolutely be roasting negatively Lindy Ruff. I know you love Lindy Ruff. I like to hold my guys accountable, because
I hold him accountable, but the thing is, like, when people say he deserves to be fired, I'm just like, what more do you want from him? Like, he's like, we'll talk about Lindy Ruff momentarily, but basically my mindset is like, I hold him accountable. I don't agree with everything he does. I will call out Lindy Ruff when you know the time is right. I'm not going to kiss his ass or anything. But at the end of the day, it's just like, look, he's overachieved with this Devils team, but we'll talk about that momentarily. Let's get back to Jonas Siegenthaler.
Jonas Siegenthaler, to me, is a real Swiss guard defenseman. He's literally the epitome of Sasquatch defensive hockey, where he lays the body out, block shots. He will create that nice breakout pass to a teammate, whether it's a short one or a long one. He's looking to try and get the assist. But like last night, or on the 24th, when this recording goes up, he made a beautiful goal, and he was just playing straight up simple Sasquatch hockey.
Can you explain what Sasquatch hockey is for people? Because I'm getting a lot of new listeners and viewers.
So let me give you an example. Andre Palat had a blend of 4 hits and 7 blocks. So that's called Sasquatch isolated defense, meaning no offensive point creation. But when he got an assist and a goal and that empty netter, that made him get a total Sasquatch score of 13. So take your hits and blocks divided by 1 game. That is your SID score percentage. So Palat had an 11% SID rate, which is insane. So just imagine what you can do, suppressing your opponents and being able to counterattack. You have to be dynamic in other facets, even if you're not the most gifted and talented player.
Okay, so obviously Jersey Joe, he's a big analytics kind of guy, so he made up his own stat. So whenever I say Sasquatch, I just mean generally like playing aggressive, using your big body frame to your advantage, and racking up some of those impacts that a lot of people will overlook. But moving on from Jonas Siegenthaler, let's talk about Curtis Lazar, another Sasquatch you like to mention, this time on the offensive side of things. So Miles Wood, with the exception of being injured a few times, I believe he's been injured 3 times for undisclosed purposes. He's never been a healthy scratch this year. So I'm sure it was tough for Lindy Ruff to make him a healthy scratch in favor of Curtis Lazar, who, let's face it, hasn't been around all that often. But I think Curtis Lazar is another X factor that we got to look at, because the facts are there. The Devils won Game 3, and Curtis Lazar, according to Christy Flannery of the Hockey News, she acknowledged that you saw Curtis Lazar. He was racking up the hits, which I believe led the Devils in forwards for that game. He was playing
in that third game. He had like 4 hits and a block shot, and he was true on the penalty kill. And he had that amazing SID rate of 5. So just imagine what Palat did on the forward side was even stronger. So just think about having a pest on your team. And someone, during the trade deadline said to me, Joe, like, why are we getting this minor leaguer? Who would care for this guy? Oh, we need him for the playoffs. We need to piss people off who are our opponents. You have to get those guys.
Right. And Curtis Lazar, I think he's played efficiently in the few games that he has played during the course of the playoffs. And look what happened. We have a tied series, 2-2. Devils are going back home. They host the next 2 of the 3 potential games. So it's just like, Curtis Lazar has definitely had that sort of impact. Also playing efficiently on the penalty kill. Nathan Bastian, he's been big on the PK. But here's one player that Here's one player we haven't really been talking about, Timo Meyer. And it's just because Timo Meyer hasn't been scoring. I don't think he has a point in this play.
Coming up. He's been coming up very close.
Yes, he's been coming up very close, which is why you see that the advanced analytics at least back it up, saying that Timo Meyer is playing well. Might just be an Eric Holla situation in which he sometimes gets unlucky. But the one thing I like from Timo Meyer is that he's not just like a stick figure out there. He's not just like standing still. He's not like doing nothing. He's actually asserting himself big time. And I think he's providing that sort of energy for the Devils. And it's something that they've been needing since the beginning of January when they were going on that losing skid, because their team is full of nice guys. Heischer, Hughes, Wax. None of these guys are going to strike fear into you, but Timo Meyer can strike fear into you because not only
he's a bulldog.
He's a bulldog.
He's a freaking bulldog in a china shop, not just a bulldog. He's a dog on a bone, ready to bite someone, ready to pound on someone. And he's gotten under the skin of Rangers players. I like to think of him as a past Devil, kind of like Claude Lemieux, but more skilled. He absolutely can piss off the Rangers players. And you saw it, and you saw me put it in my article where he was right there between Braden Schneider and Igor Shesterkin. And the pushing, the shoving, and then eventually Timo gets knocked down right into Igor Shesterkin. And then Shesterkin, always a hothead. He always looks like he's calm, but he's not. And he's like swatting the hell out of him. And eventually Schneider pushes him back in. And the Devils go on the power play. And what they do? Power play goal, baby.
Right. So
you need those guys. You need them.
Yeah. So when people say like Timo Meyer's not really doing what we expected, well, sometimes look, it would be nice if he could get like 5 goals during the playoff series, but that's not his job. That's Jack Hughes' job. That's Nico Heischer's job to set up people. Timo Meyer's role is different for the Devils compared to the San Jose Sharks. So when people say that we shouldn't re-sign him, you're not seeing the game. You're scoreboard watching, as I like to say. You're looking at like the numbers that show up in the score sheet. But look at the hits. Look what he's doing, even if it doesn't count as a hit. Look at what he's doing to the Rangers players. He's playing aggressive. He's coming full steam ahead. He's getting near Shesterkin, and even though it doesn't result in a goal, at least he's making that effort. He's making that aggression. So I want people to know that. And James Nichols, once again, tweeted out a stat, and it showed that Timo Meyer was actually playing efficiently during the course of the game, even though it didn't result in any points. So I would like to see Timo Meyer, he could score 40 goals. We've seen him do it during the course of the season. But his role is different, and he's embracing it, I believe. So when people say, let's not re-sign Timo Meyer, you're not watching.
They're nuts.
Yeah, you're nuts. You're not watching the game from a different perspective. You just expect them to put up Jack Hughes type numbers when there's already a Jack Hughes on the team.
I mean, let me put it this way. Like, you need to have guys that are going to go not only fetch the puck, but also agitate the enemy. You have to make it a living hell. And, the Rangers are good at breaking the puck out, but when you tire them out, battering them, keeping them softer in their own zone, and all they have to do is like try and make a few short passes and they have to try and move up ice. It's harder. If you saw what the Devils did in game 3, you see what I'm talking about, slowing the Rangers on transition. And the Devils started counterattack and they get more time and space and monopolizing that as much as possible to increase their odds of scoring, and eventually paid off. And that even happened more in game 4.
Yeah, so just love the effort from Timo Meyer at least. And now we got to talk about a bigger subject. Are you still on board with firing Lindy Ruff or having him resign in favor of Andrew Brunette?
I'm not in the interest of him being fired. I'm in the interest of him being promoted.
Being promoted to what? Because you've talked about.
I want him to be a skills coach advisor.
A skills coach advisor. What would he do?
So he would be advising all the skills coaches and working with them and the players that are at Prudential Center, like every other practice and whatnot, making sure that not just the guys on the NHL level, but also the AHL and the Euro leagues when they come in for camps and stuff like that, to help them assimilate and become more NHL ready. So that way you're learning from an all-time great coach and you're allowing Brunette to stay. And Brunette is the future. It's just only a matter of time.
My thing is like, look, I don't know what Devils fans are expecting from him. So when the Devils went down 0-2, people were once again pushing the narrative. Fire Lindy Ruff. Fire Lindy Ruff. Okay, Devils fans, and I'm going to do a full-fledged episode on this, like, I think come the end of the season. But just to get my quick thoughts, what do you want? Okay, so the beginning of the year, you were saying fire Lindy Ruff because Devils got off to an 0-2 start. Looks like they took a couple steps backwards. I said, give it time. It's only 2 games. Devils win a lot. Then December, January, you hear it just a little bit, but not as much. It's not as prevalent because the Devils were still tops of the Metro. Now they get to the playoffs. They go down 0-2 in embarrassing fashion, let's face it. And people are saying, fire Lindy Ruff. I'm just like, what were your expectations for Devils going into the season? What did you think they would be in the playoffs? Just asking. So even if the Devils don't make it out the first round, I'll be disappointed. I will be crushed. And my goal for them is to make it out the first round. So that way they can, stay relevant in terms of just saying they are the future. The future is now for them. But it is now. Like, let's not jump on that. Let's not jump on that bandwagon once again, saying firing Lindy Ruff, because look at all the milestones that the Devils have achieved, whether it's from an NHL standpoint, whether from a team standpoint, a personal standpoint. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, the 52 franchise wins, the Dougie Hamilton also breaking some records. It's just nuts that people are still saying, let's fire Lindy Ruff, when I'm just like, he has gotten the most out of a lot of our players. They have broken a couple franchise records, a few NHL records, might I ask. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it just blows my mind. He's exceeded the expectations, but like I said, that's my little tangent for the day. And I'll do a full-fledged episode, maybe come the end of the season.
Well, my tangent is this. The Devils don't have another contract as of yet, or right. Will they have another contract for?
Is he a long-term? Now, is he a long-term solution? I'll say no, but
shorter term, yes.
He'll leave the Devils when he wants to leave the Devils. I see like a 2-year extension, maybe a 2-year extension if he wants to stay.
I believe along with that, you have to have a contract clause that keeps Andrew Brunette in New Jersey and phases him into being a coach, whether it's the moment Lindy Ruff leaves in 2 years or leaves as soon as possible. You have to have those little details, the little devils in the details right there. So that way you retain not just one, but two great people, for certain circumstances down the road. It's kind of like insurance.
Right. So, Jersey Joe, we've talked about everything. We talked about Lindy Ruff. We talked about Jonas Sigathar. We talked about Akira Schmid. We talked about Timo Meyer. We were all over the board for players who have been having a great impact on the playoff series, but they're not going to be given the necessary amount of credit. So hopefully that gives some people some hope as the playoffs continue to progress. Any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts? Well, first off, I mean, the Devils being this great after coming back from a draft lottery year, this is a huge step forward, and you have not seen the best of the Devils yet. This team, within the next 2 years, or even right now, or even longer, they're going to give the Rangers nightmares. And the Devils have the potential.
They already are now.
They're adding not just nightmares now, they're adding more nightmares later. And I will say this: anyone hosting a draft party, get as many possible. Not just in northern Jersey, get more in central Jersey, South Jersey, whether in your expat community of southern U.S. or West Coast or wherever you're at, or even in Europe, get a watch party. I know some people still working, but have fun right now. The future is now. Get rolling.
And also, guys, for anyone who does host a watch party and they post it on the internet, and for all the trolls out there, let's be better, please. Like, let's not ridicule someone for
me or him or anyone else. Like, do I ever go on to other people and heckle them on their podcast? I don't like that. It's not kosher.
No, it's like we're all fans at the end of the day, cheering for the same team. Doesn't matter if you're a credentialed media member. Doesn't matter if you sit in the bleachers. Doesn't matter if you sit near the rink. Doesn't matter if you have some sort of association with the team. We're all on the same team here. And for the Ranger fans who went out of their way to ridicule a certain group just for, having fun and doing a watch party, making some sort of like sexist remarks, whatever the case might be, let's be better than that, please. I've been seeing it on my YouTube channel, so I'm speaking from a place of understanding. At the end of the day, guys, it's sports. It's not life or death, okay? We're just here to have fun. That's my closing thought.
And I will say this. I know there's 6 minutes left in this podcast, but we did not touch on some of the interesting playoff stats per Money Puck. Is that in a minimum of 2 games played, guess who gave up the most amount of goals against? It is Andrei Vasilevsky in 4 games, letting up 19 goals against. And guess who has given up the least amount in the minimum of 2 games? Akira Schmid. And you know who the next best behind him is? Igor Shesterkin with 4 games played. And Akira has 4.91 goals against and a 2.9 goals saved above expected. Igor has 10.5 goals against, 10.05 rather, and 4.1 goal saves above expected. But if you want to look at goal saves above per 60, it's Akira Schmid with a 1.322 and Igor Shesterkin with a 0.896. And third best is Philip Gustafsson of Minnesota of 0.860. So really, if I had my crystal ball, I think Schmid ends up becoming a future Vezina winner.
Well, he's certainly on the right path, and he's definitely put up some numbers that we haven't seen in a while. He surprised me. He surprised a lot of people, and given how well he's playing in the playoffs, and given how much more of a pedestal he's on, similar to Vitek Vanacek, a lot more eyes will be on him come next year. I'd say if he is going to be in the running for the Vezina Trophy, maybe 2 to 3 years, something like that. Like
easily. And I will say this: I know nowadays in an 82 game season, having Vanacek and Schmid splitting at least up to a maximum of 41 games, that's going to be like the Luongo Schneider tandem, but maybe better than that. But last year, 2 Boston Bruins that went on to have a better year this year with goals expected above average was Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman.
And I'm excited to see where this development of Vanacek and Schmid goes forward. It's definitely going to be exciting. But we still got a lot more playoffs to cover. So Jersey Joe, everyone can find him over at Pucks and Pitchforks. And also he is the host of Heads Up Hockey podcast. So go check that out. And like I do to close out every episode, continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you in the next episode. Jersey Joe, thanks for joining once again.
Thank you so much, Trey. And have a wonderful NHL playoffs. Please be frequenting American Whiskey and all the other places around Prudential Center, whether you're going to the game or not. Have fun, be safe, and let's go New Jersey.
No quit in New Jersey. You like that, New York?
It ain't no quit. It's all about fighting for the jersey.